The topic is going to be prepping Google Analytics data for reporting in BigQuery. BigQuery has actually been available as an integration with Google Analytics since I think 2012. As you can see on this very simple flow chart, data flows directly to Google Analytics. Once that data is in Google Analytics, it can be passed into a Google Cloud Platform product called BigQuery. A lot of people who I work with, my clients, are using a very similar flow chart, but they're having Looker or some other BI tool plug right into Google Analytics. And so we're going to talk about why you might want to modify that and then how to do that. So who is this class for? I mean, there are, like Jill said, some people who are working to understand Google Analytics, and that means this course is probably not for you. We do assume that you have some fundamental knowledge of the data structure. So what events are, what parameters are, and user properties. You don't, though, have to be an expert in SQL. All you need to do is be able to copy and paste and follow along. You don't have to be a data engineer or super familiar with anything related to data engineering. We intend to walk you through all those details. So there are going to be a lot of people in the middle of this spectrum who they understand GA, but they're not using BigQuery yet. Maybe because it's intimidating. You feel like you don't have the skills. Maybe you don't know what it would cost. So we're trying to make this course for everybody in that middle ground. If you're already orchestrating data pipelines, you're familiar with tools like dbt and Dataform, then this course is probably going to be just repeat for you. And so, you're on that far end of the spectrum. We're trying to target those individuals who are in the middle there. Imagine that you are in a situation where you rolled out Google Analytics on the website and there was a mistake. Maybe your client, this wasn't your fault, accidentally set the user ID to the word anonymous when somebody wasn't logged in. And it caused your bounce rate to go crazy and the count of users to look crazy. In the reporting interface in Google Analytics, you're out of luck. You can't change historic data. But if you're set up to use BigQuery, you can go through and you can recalculate metrics that were captured incorrectly. And it can really be a lifesaver. You can't correct every historical problem, but there are a lot you can. So one of the things we're going to do in this course is walk through those use cases and how to do that. We're going to talk about scope. So if you try and pull a metric that describes a user, like the metric users, next to a dimension that describes a page or a single event. So you want to see how many users view a page. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you get really weird results in Google Analytics. And so we're going to talk about what the different scopes are. In Google Analytics data, there are 4 of them. And how to set up BigQuery in a way that you can combine metrics and dimensions without having to worry about that anymore. The third thing is we're going to show you how to correct a bunch of bugs in the GA4 user interface. A great example is, what is a not set new or established user? A lot of weird things that we know about that you can just eliminate questions from your stakeholders by using BigQuery. We're going to talk about joining data with other sources. How do you integrate Google Analytics data with Google Ads so that when you're reporting out of BigQuery, you can have the same benefits you have in the user interface, such as I used auto tagging with a gclid, and now I need to know what the campaign name was in Google Ads. We'll show you how to join that data together. We've got a lot of benefits around building dashboards. So if you're using Looker Studio a lot, you might be very familiar with token quotas. You also have issues with hyperlog, potentially thresholding sampling. And the benefit of BigQuery is that Google isn't trying to control cost. So some of these things are applied in Google Analytics because of privacy, but really most of what's going on here is it could be very expensive for them to run queries if they didn't put controls on them. When your data is in BigQuery, those controls are removed because you're paying for BigQuery. BigQuery is super duper cheap, so we're going to start off by explaining how to estimate the cost to you. But again, another benefit of BigQuery is removing all of those frustrating reporting problems. We're going to show you how to create segments and make those segments available in a BI tool or like Looker Studio, which is a frustrating problem with using Looker Studio with GA4. That wasn't an issue in Universal Analytics. You can fix that with BigQuery. Then we're going to talk about CDPs. If you happen to be using a CDP, I think this is going to be really interesting to you. But once you've got all of these things set up, we're going to also talk about all the advanced analysis that you can do. So how can you do things like forecasting, scoring users for their probability to churn or probability to convert against something in the future? You'll have laid the foundation to do a ton of things that were not possible before. And actually, this advanced analysis piece is why I started going really deep into this, because I had laid out a series of like 15 solutions I wanted to do for clients, and all of them required this raw data formatted in a way where it's very usable. So this course is about a template that works for everybody, how to customize it, and once you've got that in place, sort of showing you, okay, here are all the things that you can do with the data now that you've got this foundation set up.